We're on, I think. I think we're in good shape, team. Good morning to you all. Oh, what a nightmare that was last night. I sat out till gone midnight and then tried it, and then the file had corrupted on YouTube. It happens more often than you'd think, is that you make something and everything's fine, everything looks good, everything's sorted, and then you go and the finished product is there and it's just not working. But that's okay. I had some time to reflect on the web show and could change a couple of things that I thought, because we had a really negative web show, which sucked. But before we get to that, challenges, I want you guys to get involved with this, ideally, is what are we going to do next? Because this has been really good, really interesting. To look at a lot of the problems that seemingly the community face and see what the reality is. Let's just jump in and find out what we can do. Maybe we can make it better. So what should we do next if we want to do anything? We'll give you some ideas for you guys. I don't think we should want to repeat the same project. I know some of you are torturous and want to hurt me and do it like on a survival hunter or something like that. But I think we probably want to look for some ways of helping guys out. I had a couple of ideas. We could try and join a guild or something. That might be a little wonky because most guilds raid on a Wednesday or a Thursday, which is my raid times. Would that really help? I've done loads of videos on joining a guild, and there's just paid off for a lot of people already. And no matter what we do, new subscribers that come just after that be like, could you make a video on this? It's like, we did it last week. Like, that happens all the time. It's like, we literally covered that last week. I also thought about maybe communication stuff. What if we, like, were a tour guide in every dungeon we went into or something like that? I don't want to put too many ideas in your heads. What I want to do is think of something that maybe we can help people out with. That's the idea. It's like, what can we investigate and maybe help people out with that and find out what's going on there? So leave it in the post below. Don't put it on the YouTube comments or anything like that. Well, we did have a negative web show last week, because yesterday, actually last night, mainly because of the BFA situation. It still sucks, but we're still waiting, still hoping, still, you know, fingers crossed. We're still telling Blizzard this is what we think. Do we have to go down this road? Maybe. So if you didn't catch that, check that out. The web show was discussing a lot of things. Not a lot of negativity, not bitching, really. Not bitching in any way. It was a lot of massive discussion. In fact, I was looking at the tweets I got this morning with people saying they had huge guild discussions based off what we were talking about at the web show, about different ideas. I saw one of them which was like, how Mythic guilds can stop being quiet, which is what we talked about at the web show, is because Mythic raiders generally just get on with things. Like, Blizzard does a change, we go, all right, and we'll just work around it or adapt to it in some way. And it's always been the way. That's the standard approach that we take to things, is just, okay. I mean, most changes in the game aren't really aimed at Mythic raiders. Like, they're such a small part of the game that it's pretty normal that widespread changes might have a negative effects on us. So this, like, for Legion, it would have been like Legos and AP. The Mythic raiders are like, ugh. And what's the difference between the heroic stuff? It's like, well, with Mythic, it's generally like required. It's not even a choice. You've just got to get involved in it. Whereas heroic, you can maybe get away with being a little behind, taking it a little easier, things like that. So really interested to see what you guys come up with. In terms of things that happened this week, now, Jesus, I have told this story before in recordings that you haven't heard, so I'm going to try and be as detailed as possible. As we had the flood this month, which was just horrific. The flood situation was really bad. About 10 p.m, Emma was in the bath, I was on the bed. And when she got out, she came in, she's drying herself off, and I needed to go for a wee. So to describe our bathroom, our upstairs bathroom, it's a square shape, and it's very small. So the bath is one's entire side of the wall. And then between the remaining top end, there's the sink and the toilet, and then you have this little area that you can stand in. That's it. So I walked into the bathroom to take a pee, and my feet were wet. And I looked around, and behind the toilet, where the pipe goes into the floor, was just pouring water out. Just pouring water out all over the floor. And I was like, oh no. Shit. Shit. So I was like, Emma, get in here. I was like, we're flooding. The house is flooding. It's happening now. This water's not stopping. It was like pumping out. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, go and turn the water off. Go and turn the water off. I was like, where did we turn the water off? So Emma ran downstairs. I couldn't turn the tap, the stop tap, because it was too tough. So I came downstairs, and then she went, oh no, and all the water was pouring through the lights in the ceiling. So to describe the front of our house is we have a little area, as the front door opens, there's a little area where you can take your shoes off and you can hang your coat. It's just big enough so that the door opening just doesn't hit the next wall. It's a very small area. And then that opens, then the next door opens into the living room. So it's coming out of the lights in this little area, and then it started pouring out of the lights in the living room, right in the middle of the floor, all over the place, and then it started coming down the walls. Right, I'm looking around, like just water coming from everywhere. It was coming down the walls, right onto the router, onto the electrics, onto the television, the whole shabazz. So I turned the top of the water off, and then I ran and popped all the fuses to turn all the electrics off in the house. And then it's pitch black, so again, it's 10 p.m. at night. We've got our phones out, and we're getting towels, and I'm dragging like the TV into the middle of the living room somewhere where it's not dripping water. And I'm trying to unplug all the electrics and protect the internet, save the internet, the precious router. Come here, because it had water all over it. And putting pans and stuff out and just using every towel in the house to try and soak it up. And the water was all warm and murky and gross, and the water didn't stop. I was like, what the fuck? We've turned the water off and the water didn't stop. So go try a tap. Turn the tap, the water was off, but this was pouring out. I said, go check upstairs, and the bathroom is still pouring out with water. And then it clocked. It's Emma's bath water. It's an entire bath's worth of water that's coming out that we've got to deal with. And obviously the pipe had blocked somewhere, so the water had nowhere to go. So all the water from Emma's bath was just coming out everywhere. I was like, oh shit. But we did know it was going to stop eventually. We just had to deal with this entire bath full of water. So it was freezing. It was during the snowstorm in the UK. And we had the door open and the window open to try and get some of the water out, let some of it evaporate, so it was still warm. Try and get anything out we could, or soaking it up, but it stank. It was dirty bath water that was pouring into the house. And we phoned, this house is rented, so we phoned the guy, we phoned the emergency line, and we're like, we're having a flood, and like, okay, has it stopped? He was like, well, yeah, we kind of know what it is, and the electrics are off. They're like, all right, we'll be there tomorrow. There's nothing we can do about it right now. So I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So the next day, we obviously had to cancel the stream. And told Andy he needs to work from home because we had no internet. Like, doing our job without internet is really hard. So I was like doing stuff on my phone, like trying to get into the PC and stuff. I managed to turn the electrics on in the extension because there was no water there. 1 second. And there's no water there. And it turned out that we were kind of dicked because at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, these two bods turned up, these two guys who were pipe bros. These pipe bros turned up. And the pipe bros were looking around and like, where do you get access to your pipes? I was like, I don't know. Why would I know that? Why would I go messing around with the pipes? And they were like, huh, it should be here. And then they were looking around and like, pretty sure it's under your extension. The kids are locked out. It's Easter Sunday. The kids are full of chocolate. So they're pretty sure it's under the extension, which is where I'm sat right now. So the only solution is actually to dig a hole at the front of the house. Great. So they called up and said, look, we've got to dig a hole. We can't access what we need to access. And the guy refused to pay for it. Motherfucker. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, nah, I'm not paying for that. We want to get quotes. I was like, how much is it? It's like, it's £200. I'm like, I will pay half. We can't go another day. One with no water for the kids and having no electrics and internet. It's not going to happen. Right? So he was like, and then this guy looked at me and he went, you know what? Fuck that. So if you're paying half, they can argue the rest out all day. I am not sitting here till 5 o'clock to dig this pipe out. So he just went, right, if you're paying half, I'm going at it. And they got straight in there with the shovels and everything and dug this pipe out. And then he finally got it. He's like, right, dig a hole in the pipe. We're going to stick a camera in to see what the problem is. So he gets his camera, sticks it in, and he goes, you got kids? I went, yeah. He goes, yeah, your pipe's full of baby wipes. I was like, oh my God. So Max is toilet trained. Go get a chair. Max is toilet trained, but James is going through his toilet training. He's doing really well, to be honest. He's doing miles better than Max did. But it seems at some point, while wiping his ass, James had probably decided to just throw a load of baby wipes down the toilet. And if you don't know, baby wipes don't dissolve. Toilet paper does, and then butt wipes do. But baby wipes do not. Butt wipes do, but baby wipes do not. So, motherfucker, fucking kids. That's all I was thinking at the time. I was like, fucking kids doing my head in. Because it might have been Max. I don't know. Not that it matters. So they went, right, we'll solve this. 2-minute job, no worries. So he gets this pipe out. He lets the labourer do it. So out of these two guys, one's a seasoned guy. The other guy is like the helper. So he says to the helper, it's an easy job. Do you want to have a go at it? So he goes, yeah, sure. So he gets this water jet, essentially, and just shoves it in and goes, move. And the guys go, it's not working. Because I'm sat in the living room with the doors open watching these guys dig up the front doorstep. It was the doorstep of the house is where they were digging. And they're like, it's not working this. And I was like, can't you just let the other guy do it? I just want to get it done and over with.
Why, did you think he was just incompetent?
Yeah, because he didn't know what he was doing. It was like, can I have a go, essentially, because it's a big water jet. That's what they were doing. It's like, can I have a go? And I'm just going, just get it fucking done, boys. You do, because I had Ben as well.
Yeah.
And Ben does not like people at the house. So I was like, Ben's getting really irritated. So the other guy went, oh, let me have a go. And he has a go. And then he goes, it's not working. I'm like, oh, no. So they go and get the camera out again and shove it in. And then he looks into the room at me and he goes, Mike, you want to come and take a look at this? And I'm like, you motherfucker, there's something way worse going on here. You just know you're about to get the bad news.
What
you
did
know.
you think it was?
I don't know. I just knew I was about to be told something that was going to piss me off. I just knew it as I walked over. I was like, what's the problem? And so the pipes, you know, as you can imagine, should join together. So it forms a tunnel. But the pipes, instead of joined together, I like that. So they're like half on, half off. So what that means is that every time someone's been taking a shit or a piss, and apparently it's been like this for years, from what they said.
In the bath, is it?
Yes, every time we empty the bath or flush the toilet or anything like that, some of the water goes down the pipe because it has a meeting there, but also some of it doesn't, which means we've been washing away the underside of the house for years.
Nice.
Yeah, washing it away. So you might recall about a year ago, they were going to knock down our office and we might have had to move because it's falling over, like it's pulling on the side of the house. We always thought it was badly built. It was a cheapo job, something like that. Turns out, in fact, we're just washing away the underside of the house. Good news, right? We're just washing it away, which is a real... I was just like, well, at least that solves that mystery. But how do we fix this? So... because of what I've told you already, you can probably imagine that the bit that's broken is underneath the house. So our carpet is wrecked from all the water. It's dirty bath water. And they then tell me that in order to fix this, they're going to have to dig a hole not only in the front of the house, the bit where you put your coats in, but also in the living room. They're just going to have to dig a big hole in the living room and fix the pipe that way. And I'm looking at the guy like, what the fuck, man? This sucks so bad. Because I thought the other guy was... because he actually said these words, and this is the fatal nail in the coffin for me.
I wasn't here for this. What did he say?
It's clear now. You've got rid of the baby wipes. So it's kind of working fine. And you've had it like this for years. So you could technically still leave it. He said it needs doing, but you can still use everything. He said still use the toilets and everything. It's like it's no rush to get it done. And upon knowing our landlord, once he heard that, he'd be like, well, I'm not doing that. He could get on with it and get on with life. And I thought, motherfucker, this is going to be hanging over our heads for ages. And they sent a carpet guy out the next day. But obviously, we then got a call. The insurance guy came out. We had all these visitors who kept telling us that it was fucked, right? Over and over again, they kept sending different guys. He's obviously getting quotes to find the cheapest guy. Who kept telling us it was fucked. And we're like, we know that. You don't need to come and keep telling us that the situation is fucked, man. You don't need to do that. So we're now in this situation where our house stinks.
The insurance man showed me on the screen, though, underneath, and it is just like this deep, 1.5 meters deep in water. He said they haven't actually cleared the blockage because there was nowhere for it to go. Yeah. He said so it's still 1.5 meters deep of water underneath where you are right now.
Exactly.
With all your expensive computer stuff. It's
good, isn't it? But we can't fix the stinking carpet either. Not so yet. Yeah, because they're going to dig a big hole in the living room at some point, so they're not going to put a carpet down. So that's where we are with the flood. But it was a stressful half an hour that sorting out that flooding water. It was really bad. Like we did everything to get that up, and the towels were ruined.
You were screaming at me, turn the water off. And I don't know where the water is. I don't know how to do it.
Oh, it was bad. That was like, a bad. Yeah. And then we came down, and all the fucking water's pouring down the walls and out of the lights and all that. Oh, it was so bad. All over the router. Like we had to protect the internet. The internet was going to die. It was really bad. But on top of that, we also had the triathlon, which was really interesting. So Emma has been training since just January. I mean, we're only just in the 1st of April now. You've only been training since January. You'd never run before that. We've been on bike rides, which you still remind me of because I fell off. We've done all that.
Yeah,
but that was like 15 years ago or something like that. We went bike riding. But since then, you've gone at it. It wasn't a fad. I thought it was going to be a fad. But you stuck with it and you got into a routine of going to the gym and stuff and being healthy. You're the slimmest now you've been since you were like a teenager, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And
healthy though.
And healthy. So you went for the first triathlon. which was weird because it was in the middle of buck-ass nowhere, UK, full of weird jams. Preserves. Weird jams. And these girls, because fashions are very different in the UK if you travel even 20 minutes. And Emma didn't notice it as bad, but for me it looked hilarious. Is the fashion in this part of the UK was to draw on really massive, thick eyebrows. They looked like a felt pen. They were really like a centimetre and a half thick.
I didn't notice it.
I did, because everyone looked like they were like taking the piss out of me. Like they looked like a clown convention. It looked really weird. I was like, why would you do that? Or why would you look in the mirror and draw these giant eyebrows, big fake thick black eyebrows in like a felt pen, and think, nailed it. Got it good. I'm going out. I was like, this is mental. But it was 5 in the morning because the clocks changed while we were there. So I had to get the boys up who were just not happy to be there at all. And then we had to traverse our way down to this sports centre because the swimming was inside, thankfully, because it was freezing cold. Where it was good, though, because we got to sit on like an observation area where all the triathletes were starting. So I had a strategy. It was my strategy. Emma was going to start, and you had to do 8 laps of the pool. Yeah. 8 lengths. 8 lengths of the pool. So at length number 5, I was going to get the boys, run outside with them to the bit where your bike was, so we could see you get on the bike and then set off in the bike. So off she goes. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and Max is going, go mummy, over and over again across everybody in the pool. Ran outside, waited, saw you get on the bike, off you went. It was a slow transition, let's be honest.
It was.
It was a slow transition.
You know what though?
It took your time.
I got out of that pool into -2, and I took the time to get my gloves on so I could feel my hands and put my jumper on. So
it was worth to stop to put your gloves on.
People were cycling past going, I wish I had put my gloves on. So you might have been
it was a slow transition, boys, I'm not going to lie. It looked like you just like got out of bed and you're going to a bike ride. I'm not moaning. I'm just saying I was expecting the speedy sort of like smooth transition. It wasn't that at all.
The first one.
I know. Anyway, you set off. Did your Bax give you a kiss on the way past?
No, on the way off onto my run transition.
All right, let me wait for to get to that bit then. So you set off on the bike, and then we had time to kill. So I asked one of the stewards, I was like, how long does it take to do the bike bit? And they went, depends how healthy people are, because this is like a free, anybody can go triathlon. So it could be anywhere between 20 minutes and half an hour, 40 minutes. He said, we really don't, it's not like that. So I was like, okay. He just said, just watch out for people who are near or just before your wife, and then you'll know where you're going. So I thought, all right, I need to get the boys out of the cold. It's -2, and I've got 2 little boys there. So luckily, they'd opened the restaurant in the fitness centre, or the cafe thing, and they both wanted food. So I got them a sausage sandwich, cut it in half. That was to be breakfast to keep them warm until we got back. And then they requested the sauce, the ketchup, the sauce of life, the juice of life. And I'm very much, when it comes to the kids, and we did it again this morning, is sometimes we let them struggle with stuff so they learn how to do it properly rather than helping them all the time. And that's paid off for us massively. So it sounds really cruel. At the time, it feels like really annoying. But let me give you some context to it. So it's like putting their own sauce on food. We let the kids do that because they figure out if they put too much on, okay, I need to do it better. But it's no good if we do it all the time. This morning, it was putting their shoes on. Right? But you'd be surprised. There are kids who are years older than Max and James who cannot put their own shoes on. It might take us a long time and it's frustrating, but they'll figure it out and then they'll nail it and then they'll be good forever after to do that. So they wanted sauce. So I got some sauce and then they wanted napkins. So as I walked to get some napkins while they're putting the sauce on, James fucked up his sauce situation and covered the table in sauce. It was sauce everywhere. I was like, fuck, man. So I had to go see the guy. I was like, can I have a cloth? The kids have put sauce everywhere. He's like, yeah, no worries. So I got a cloth, came back. James is gone. Not like in a panicky kind of way. I could see him, and he's got up off his chair, and he's just walked over to the bin, and he's just thrown his sandwich in it. And then as I was cleaning the table, he come back, and he just sat down and stared at me. And I was like, why did you do that? And he went, sauce, Daddy. Too much sauce. He was just like, I'm not eating that. And just put it in the bin. I was like, wow, that's something I'd do. That's crazy. He just walked over and went, nope. Just came back and sat down. Didn't ask for anything else. Just went, I'm not having that. So he poured the sauce over. Max had his sandwich. And I could see people coming back. So I was like, right, Emma's going to be here soon. So I got the boys up. We went outside in the cold. It was fucking freezing. The boys were like... and then you came down on the bike, which was really good because you got to see you come down on the bike. And the kids kind of stood in the way because they were really excited to see you because James wanted his mummy at that point because he was cold.
Max jumped in front of the bike.
He jumped in front of the bike.
So I had to get off. I had to get off anyway, but I had to jump off and give him a quick kiss. And you went, she's still racing.
She's still racing, yeah.
Still racing.
Max wanted a kiss and all that. James going, mummy, 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 mummy. Anyway, the run started then. Which was a 2 mile run, 3 mile run?
2.5.
2.5. 2.5K.
Yeah.
Once again, I asked how long it's going to be. It's like, it'll be about 15 minutes, something like that. 15, 20 minutes again. I was like, okay then, right. So I get the boys back inside out the cold. And they were hungry again then. And they'd seen cakes. The guy had brought cakes out. So I got them a flapjack and cut it in half again so they could have some flapjack. Just get some oats in them. And I could see... It had been about 15 minutes. And they both went, Daddy... I went, what? And they went, I need a wee. I have got a choice to make. Either take the kids to the toilet or I ask them to hold it in the hopes that Emma's going to be back in a few minutes. But there's a rule when you're doing toilet training with kids. If they ask to go to the toilet, you have to take them. Even if you have to go 5 or 6 goddamn times in a row, you've got to do it, haven't you? You can't say no if they're learning. If they're telling you, certainly James, he's only 2. If James is saying, I need a wee, you go into the toilet. So I was like, fuck. So I was like, all right, boys, let's go, quick. Right, we got this. Dived into the toilet. Now, Max doesn't really have anybody in the toilet with him anymore, because he's 4. So he'll go in the toilet and I'll stand outside the door, or you'll do the same, right? Just let him go in and do it himself. He'll handle it himself. And he was so excited about everything that had been going on that morning and the fact that me and James were both in the toilet. We went in the family changing, that he just pissed all over the floor. He missed the toilet completely because he wasn't even looking. He was like looking at us and we were all talking and stuff and he just pissed all over the floor. Like none of it went in the toilet. And I went, Max, you've missed the toilet. And he looked really ashamed and upset. I was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. But there's piss all over the floor. So James then goes, I need a wee as well, Daddy. And I'm bursting. I was like, oh God. So I had to like get James's pants down, sit him on the toilet while trying to keep my feet out of the puddle of piss that's now below me. Keeping Max in the corner at the same time. Got James to have a piss. And then I had to clean this up because I could have gone and got the cleaning lady. But I feel really awful about asking someone to clean up a big puddle of piss off the floor. So my strategy was this. I got some toilet roll and dipped it in it so the piss went up the toilet roll and threw that in the toilet. So I didn't have to touch it, but it was still absorbing all the piss off the floor. Piss? It was a full piss that didn't go in the toilet. He just pissed on the floor.
How much is a full piss in a glass like?
You've been for a piss before, right?
Yeah, but do men have different amounts?
I don't think so.
Is a man bladder the same size as a lady bladder?
Yeah, about the same, I would imagine. But slightly bigger, maybe, depending on the person. Mine would probably be bigger than yours. But he just pissed all over the floor anyway. So the moral of the story is there was a puddle of piss that needed cleaning up, and I had to deal with it. So I cleaned up this piss, and then... So it was still, obviously, wet on the floor, but it wasn't a puddle. I got rid of that. So then we could tell the cleaning lady. And as we come out the door... Who should I see walking around the reception area behind the glass looking for us but you? And we'd missed the end of the race.
10 minutes before, I was like, well, they're not near the bikes. Nope. They're not in the car. Nope. They're not on the hill. They definitely weren't at the finish line because that's where I first looked for them.
Yep.
Oh,
missed the fucking finish. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Missed the goddamn finish. Of all the things to miss. We would have had to miss the transition. Okay. Right, not the end of the world, but missing the finish was gutting. I was like, I just said to you straight away, I'm so sorry. I mean, it's one of the things we're here to see, right? Is the big finish of the race, but there's nothing we could do. It was just one of those things. It was a totally unavoidable situation, sadly, and we did in fact miss the end of your first triathlon. We missed the end. No pictures, nothing. Gutted from all of us. Gutted from all of us, but yeah,
well, I was alright because I thought. Well, nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do.
It's not like you was in there stuffing your face.
Yeah, we were just sat in the cafe.
I would have been fuming.
I was cleaning up a puddle of piss.
Not even that part, but like with you saying that James needed the loo, and I had seen you at the transition where Max had a kiss and that. So
if
I hadn't have had that bit, I would have been like.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate timing, and there's nothing we could have done. I can't say no to the boys if they need a wee. You've got to go and deal with it. That's just the way life is sometimes. Yeah. But you still did it, and you're a legit triathlete, which is pretty awesome. And you're thinking of doing maybe some tracking stuff for Patreon as well. You can get it sorted. some like of what you've been doing? Because a lot of people have got interested because you've done it so quickly.
Yeah, that is crazy. Like from January, like literally 1st of January started running. 25th of March, my first triathlon, and I've got another 4 booked in now.
Of which I will be attending 0.
No, you'll be attending the one in Chester.
Oh, fantastic!
I'm swimming in the open water.
I do want to watch that. It's going to be so cold. It's going to be funny.
I've got my wetsuit.
You're going to be fine.
Keep you warm?
Yeah, they're not bad actually. But you generally need a dry suit after that, I think. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not that into it. But that's been our month, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of Patreon stuff, we have a lot of booked in. Emma's going away tomorrow. You're taking the kids away.
I am, so you won't get any distractions.
I can get on with work, so I can do some days and nights. How exciting. But that should be good for you guys, right? That's what's happening this week, so I can get caught up on everything. And I haven't got a project at the moment, so I don't need to get overly invested in something. And I can make some cool Patreon stuff for you guys. So thank you all for your support, as always. I will see you again, probably a few times this month for a chit chat. Well, other than that, be good.
Maybe I'll send you a video.
We should do a video. We've even got the other camera now you could use.
Shall I do a video? Like, do you want to see like a day in the life of me?
Answers down below. I'll see you again. Bye bye.